Games you play and the sports you watch with Lucra. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
Campus to Canton. Campus to Canton on the Better Sports Network.
Yo, Mox, did you hear this news this week? Not a lot of people are talking about it.
No, I haven't seen anyone talking about it, actually.
Tom Brady retired this week, Mox. It's Felix, Sharpe, Chris Moxley, Campus to Canton show on Better Sports Network. Anthony Rivera keeping us in line, producing today. Yes, Tom Brady retired. I know you haven't heard yet. I feel like you got to go through his resume, even though everybody knows his resume. But still, actually, before we go through his resume, people don't remember Tom Brady in 19. That's how long Tom Brady has been playing football, as he was playing college football in the 90s. In the 1990s. And people don't remember that he was sharing the backfield with a much more highly rated recruit in Drew Henson. Do you remember Drew Henson, the Yankees third baseman, first-round draft pick?
Are you aware how old I am? I'm pretty sure Tom Brady's first year at Michigan was the year I was born or something. Or something like that.
You gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me. All right, son. Strap in. It's story time. Anthony, it's story time for you, too, if you're listening. Of course, you're listening. You're producing the show. Tom Brady, in 1999, was, he was an okay quarterback, probably on a Cade McNamara level now. I think he had 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions his last season. That last season, 1999, Lloyd Carr head coach, they have this, I think he's either freshman or sophomore, this phenom athlete, probably on covers of Sports Illustrated and all that kind of stuff. Drew Henson. By the time he got to Michigan, he had already been a Yankee draft pick. New York Yankee draft pick, I think at third base. So everybody wanted to see this guy play. He wasn't as good as Tom Brady. He ended up not being good. He ended up playing for my Detroit Lions. And then, the rest is history. The rest is history.
I remember him playing for the Lions.
You remember
Drew Henson
playing
that.
for the Lions? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 2007, 2008-ish? Somewhere around there. I remember him playing.
2002, 2003, somewhere around that time.
He was the backup and just never. He was a great trivia question.
Never good.
It still is.
It's still a good trivia question. It's not a trivia question to me because I lived it. I mean, that's a dumb trivia question. But I guess for somebody who was 1 year old at the time it happened, I guess that does make a good trivia question. Tom Brady, 6th-round draft pick. 199 overall. I'm going to give you a test after this, since you want trivia, Moxley. This isn't going to be a trivia. This is going to be a test. Tom Brady, 6th-round draft pick. But by the way, that last college season, he went 180 for 295, 2,217 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I was right about that. He didn't even have 3,000 yards passing. 19 seasons in the NFL. What'd you say?
He wasn't even close to 3,000 yards. He barely crossed 2,000.
He barely crossed 2,000. He was basically who was Iowa's starting quarterback this year? I mean, he was around that level of player.
Spencer Peterson, Alex Padilla.
Yeah. 19 seasons, 3-time MVP. Remember, I'm going to give you a test here. 7-time Super Bowl winner, 5-time Super Bowl MVP. He's the all-time leading passer. He's dated Tara Reid, Bridget Moynihan, Gisele Bundchen. Man's got a resume. All right, you know what your test is, Moxley? I want you.
Oh, gosh.
I want you to give me the next Tom Brady, a day 3 draft pick who's going to go win 8 Super Bowls and date a whole bunch of supermodels. Come on now. I wish we had the Jeopardy music to see who you can come up with. I have an answer here.
I know you have an answer. I assume you have many answers. Yeah, you go first.
All right, how about this? Talia Tagovailoa. Maryland quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa's younger brother. He's going to be a fifth-year player next year? Has some of the tools. Hasn't been as explosive as his brother. Not going to be a first-round pick. Probably not going to be a second-round pick. We're talking about a day 3 guy who, by that time, he's got the family name and everything. What do you think? Tua Tagovailoa, the next Tom Brady.
It's not bad. The pedigree certainly helps. He just has really poor decision making, but you could always improve on that, right? Why not?
I'm projecting a day. What supermodels is he going to date? Zendaya, they're probably about the same age.
No,
Margot Robbie would be too old for him.
Yeah, I don't know any current supermodels.
Zendaya. So we got we've got on Better Sports Network. You got one? Okay.
I got one. I actually think this is an interesting player who might actually go higher in next year's draft than the 6th round. So this might be a reach. What about Michael Pratt, the quarterback at Tulane? I think he's a pretty toolsy guy. I think he has a nice arm. I think he needs to improve mechanically. That's his biggest issue.
Yes.
But he's playing at Tulane. This is not a player who's getting the top flight quarterback coaching that a lot of other players at the Power 5 level are in the SEC, the Big Ten. But he had offers to go to big Power 5 programs, allegedly, and passed up on them so he could join Willie Fritz for another season with the Green Wave. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I'm pretty confident that he will be drafted. I think he's going to be a hot name for like that QB4, QB5 in next year's draft. So he might go round 2 with someone trying to build him developmentally, but I think he's pretty good. And so if you want me to pick a player in one of the next few drafts who might be the next Tom Brady, I think Michael Pratt, quarterback at Tulane, has that potential.
Tell me if this is true or false. I want to explain who Michael Pratt is a little bit more, because we know some of our listeners hearing these names for the first time, which is why you need to tune in to the Campus2Canton podcast feed. We talk about these guys all the time. True or false, Moxley? Michael Pratt has a better arm, just as far as like raw stand at the 50 and throw it out the stadium arm strength, than Tom Brady has ever had. True or false? Oh,
True.
Come on.
True.
That's true. That's true.
He's not nearly as accurate deep, but
no.
It's not for the lack of talent, in my opinion. It's for lack of mechanics.
No.
I think if you got him with a great quarterback coach, he could improve it.
That's why I want to provide some background here. Michael Pratt, as Chris said, went to Tulane, started as a true freshman, very early in his true freshman season. You talk about poor mechanics. This dude was up there like on his tippy toes. I've never seen somebody have as poor mechanics as this dude has had. Improved over the years. One of these teams that you do not want to schedule for that non-conference game. Folks don't remember last season almost beating Spencer Rattler and Lincoln Riley in Norman, Oklahoma. That would have been a great start to the season. Almost had them. They had them on the ropes. Remember that game. And obviously they beat USC this year in what? I don't know if it was a Cotton Bowl, whatever it was. They beat USC.
A New Year's Six Bowl. They're the highest ranked G5 team.
Yeah. He is a talented, and he's one of these guys who is not afraid to sacrifice his body.
No.
As a runner, I'd probably compare him to, like Jameis Winston, kind of awkward but daring.
He will make plays that make you squirm if you're the head coach, but will get the job done. His last drive, the last drive of the game, last 2 drives actually, for Tulane against USC, if you want to watch a quarterback truly put the team on his back, make great throws, put his body on the line, Michael Pratt just was excellent in that contest. Just truly, like, I really feel like that elevated his stock to where we're actually talking about him as a day 2 pick. But he has the potential to be like a really good NFL quarterback. He just needs to improve on the technical aspects. That's not crazy for a G.
And he has.
It's very popular for those guys.
He has over 3 years. He has improved mechanically. All right,
absolutely.
Who do we have him dating? Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift.
She's a little older. I think they're a little bit older than him.
I can't even. I can't think of like a pop star. That's
Lenny Klum.
who
Daughter
is Lenny
of Heidi
Klum?
Klum is now a model.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
one of these quarterbacks probably, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually don't, I don't want to assume sexuality. It could be a male model as well. So I don't know.
Sure. Look at us. Look at us calling out the next Tom Brady. So who do we have? Talia Tagovailoa, Michael Pratt. We're giving people something to look forward to. All right. Let's stop with the
wait, before we move on, can we talk about the Giselle quote that she posted on his Instagram real quick? Have you seen this quote?
I think I heard a little bit about it.
So Brady posted his video. He was sitting on a beach in Miami or Tampa, and it was overcast. It was the condos behind him. It was honestly kind of depressing. I guess that's what it takes to beat Schefter, though. So he didn't have many options. The first comment, it was Giselle's comment, and she says, "Wishing you only wonderful things in this new chapter of your life."
What word would you put the emphasis on there?
Wishing you only wonderful things in the new chapter of your life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ain't no coming back to Jizzy, baby. If
my ex posted that, I would just curl up in a ball for the next week. I mean, there's a lot of subtext in that quote from Giselle. She knows exactly what she's doing. He
did all that. I don't know. We don't know what happened in their marriage, but for one losing season of football and getting knocked out of the playoffs by a bad Cowboys team. Oh well. You know what? I think Tom Brady's going to land on his feet. What, $37.5 million a year for Fox?
Probably sound like he's going to get paid way more than Romo. He's way better than Romo on screen. So
I don't know.
Whatever that contract is, just double it.
No, that's what I'm telling you. It's like $375.
Oh, it's already confirmed?
10 years. Yeah.
Oh, of course it is, because
it's close to $40 million a year for Fox.
Yeah, Tom will be great on television. He'll be able to diagram plays better than anybody, and I don't want to say
he'll finally make some money. He has not made. I mean, relatively speaking, he's never been like the top paid quarterback in the league.
Intentionally so.
Right. He ain't taking no more.
Patriots way.
Yeah. But, all right, we're supposed to be the college football guys. We're sitting here talking about Tom Brady. I want to play this other game with you, Moxley. I was thinking the other day, watching the playoffs, how wrong the evaluation community and the fantasy community have been on players. Two come to mind because when I'm watching the playoffs. Josh Allen. I mean, where was the community at on Josh Allen as a rookie? This dude is terrible. Now people are saying that he's better than Mahomes, or at least earlier this year, where people were saying that he was better than Mahomes. The other one is Jalen Hurts. Nobody believed in Jalen Hurts. People were saying that the Eagles were going to draft a quarterback last year to replace him, and now, I mean, they're favored in the Super Bowl, aren't they? They got to be the favorite
by 1.5. Yeah,
by 1.5. That's it. Who are you taking? I'm taking the Eagles to 1.5.
I would take the Eagles personally, but
absolutely.
I don't watch enough NFL to feel that confident.
Yes, you do. You know that if you took Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts off of those teams, which team is better? It's the Eagles by a mile.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that
by a billion.
I don't think that Patrick Mahomes is going to do enough to overcome, how.
If he was healthier, I would feel a lot more confident in backing the Chiefs. So
he's got 2 weeks. I think he's going to be fine.
It's a high ankle. I don't even want to speculate. I'm not like the NFL guy, so haven't researched it as much, so I don't want to give bad advice. But I would play the Eagles money line, certainly, if I was to, and I probably will do that at some point this week.
He doesn't have, obviously, Tyreek anymore. I think that's a big, big difference. They need some weapons. That's crazy to think, but they need some weapons in Kansas City. You got Juju Smith-Schuster. Mecole Hardman's not playing. Kadarius Toney, I think, is eventually going to be a good player for them, but he's not a one. Their one is Travis Kelce, not Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Yeah,
I would love Josh
just imagine
Downs
if
there.
Ooh.
UNC wide receiver Josh Downs, like really
Talk
competitive
to me.
dude, smaller, really
Talk to me.
twitchy. I
Talk
think
to me.
Josh Downs would be my favorite target if they
Who
were
is
to draft a receiver late in the first.
what's the comp? Who's the comp for Josh Downs?
That's a good
come
question.
I got an answer.
Who's yours?
Tyler Lockett.
Yes. Okay, that's a
Tyler
that's a great comp.
Lockett.
Yeah.
Tyler is a deep threat. He can also I think he can win after the catch. So give me Downs in Kansas City all day. Give me Josh Downs in Kansas City all day. I do want to play this game. Who are we going to be wrong about? We'll play an NFL draft version of this. So what I'm going to do is set up, what the community and what the evaluation community is already projecting about a player. And Mox, I want you to tell me why we're going to be wrong. Does that make sense? We're going to go good and bad. Okay. Let's start with a bad one first. The community is down on Will Levis, Kentucky quarterback, Penn State transfer, goes to Kentucky, puts mayonnaise in his coffee, eats bananas whole, a lot of weird stuff. I think the perception is that, well, here's the thing. The perception is, he's going to be drafted in the top 5, but he's terrible. He's terrible. You can't build around this dude. He's bad. I've seen a lot of people saying that. Tell me why and how we're going to be wrong with Will Levis and he becomes, a top 10 quarterback in the league. That's a tough task, Moxley. I don't know. Is that too much? Is that too much to ask? Can you tell me?
Josh Allen. Like, that's it. Like, that's your answer to the Will Levis question. Will Levis struggled a lot this year, and part of it is, I think, Will Levis, but part of it's also the offensive line lost 2 key NFL pieces day 1, round, or early day 2, early day 3 guys. They lost their offensive line coach. They lost their offensive coordinator. There was so much inconsistency. They lost Wan'Dale Robinson. It was not a good situation for Will Levis this year. He was throwing to primarily true freshmen. He still has the skills. The arm is good. The size is good. He has functional athleticism. He has the prototypical NFL body. Like, that is what you're selling with Will Levis. You are taking a shot on the potential, and there are reasons to be optimistic because he played a lot better last year when everything was in place, when he had a veteran offensive line, when he had an offensive line coach that didn't bolt to Alabama the following year. All of these things were, when they were in place, were beneficial to Will Levis. I think the path to his success is a Josh Allen type leap. I'm just selling you on the good. That is how we get there.
I'm going to give you 2. So you said Josh Allen. I'm going to give you another example, and I'm going to connect the 2. Daniel Jones. Look what Daniel Jones did this year in comparison to previous seasons. Now, they kind of started to build around Daniel Jones. I mean, they drafted Wan'Dale Robinson, Richie James for some reason.
Oh, they had straight scrubs at the end of the year. Brian Dable just is a mastermind.
That is the unifying piece between Daniel Jones and Josh Allen. Brian Dable. If you get Will Levis, a coach like that, who can emphasize a quarterback's strengths, because both of these guys, Josh Allen and Daniel Jones, were not known for their accuracy. Same for Will Levis. Tools. I actually think that Daniel Jones is a decent comp for Will Levis. Is that fair?
I actually think Daniel Jones is a little more athletic from like a pure athleticism standpoint, but size, build, arm strength, I think he compares more favorably to Josh Allen. But Allen is like a way more willing runner than Levis is.
Yeah.
Not that Will Levis isn't a good athlete, because I think he is. And
with the Bills, I think they did it they made him successful. They made Josh Allen successful in a number of ways. With their play calling, just being a little bit more conservative with their play calling, getting his completion percentage up with like screens and stuff. But then you look at the complementary pieces that they added to their wide receiver core. Stephon Diggs. Okay, you're a quarterback with accuracy problems. We're going to give you the wide receiver who creates the most space in the NFL as far as route running. Then they added Cole Beasley. We're going to give you a slot wide receiver, a safety blanket. This year, they added James Cook. So, okay, we're going to get your completion percentage up. We're going to get you one of the best catchers of the football out of the backfield. If you have a organization that is going to be that intentional about covering up his weaknesses, he's going to be good. I mean, but that's the same thing for just about any quarter. Think about what the Ravens have done and how unique that offense is to be specifically tailored to Lamar Jackson's strengths. They don't throw the ball outside the numbers. They throw the ball over the middle to Mark Andrews. This is a team that you see with 2 tight ends and fullbacks in the backfield. So if you have a organization that's willing to be that bold, he's going to have success. So that is why we're wrong. I'm going to make this job a little bit harder. Is that okay? I'll make it harder on you, Mox.
I don't like Will Levis, so me talking positive about him for like a minute is it. Like there is a devil's advocate story to tell with Will Levis that I think that I am not buying into, but it's real. So lay it on me. I'm ready.
In Superflex drafts, where are you taking Will Levis? If he okay, let me clarify. Will Levis is taken
Where's he going?
Between pick 15 and 32 in the NFL draft. Where are you taking him in Superflex leagues?
Oh, I'm probably taking him lower than I would if he was. I think he's a top 10 pick. I would be shocked if he went outside the top 10.
I want to get odds on that. On him being a top. I don't think he's a top 10 pick. I don't think
he's the odds will drop. He'll get an over and under. We can take the under.
Sam Howell and Matt Corral were better quarterback prospects. They were. Don't roll your eyes at me.
Howell had a
knee injury, whatever it was,
not confirmed
allegedly.
Medical injury that dropped him, and then Corral, I just don't think had the athleticism and tools, size package.
Matt Corral,
size.
Okay, yes, he is small.
The dude runs like a just a freight train, and he's only like 6'1". He's gonna get hurt every single play. He got hurt in the bowl game,
but had one of the best arms. Like could do all that throwing across the field and all that stuff last year. The best arm in the class. They went. You think Will Levis is a better quarterback prospect than those two? I do not think so.
I don't think he's a better quarterback prospect than Sam Howell, but I mean, Sam Howell dropped for reasons that were not related to his prospect profile. They were health related.
All right, answer the question. Superflex leagues. Will Levis drafted in the first round between picks 15 and 32. Where are you taking him in Superflex leagues?
Probably
I think it's around like the
108, 109.
Yeah, I was going to say 109. I was going to say 109.
I'm not going to pass on a first round quarterback because I am not bought in on his profile.
We did that with Josh Allen. Josh Allen was falling to the second round in Superflex leagues.
I am not a general manager. I don't work for an NFL team. I'm not a scout. I don't think I scout quarterbacks nearly as good as anybody at Campus2Canton, period. So like, I'm not going to say that I think I know more about guys who do this for a living. And I think the NFL is wrong a lot.
You poo-pooed on Will Levis's wide receivers at Kentucky. Come on, Mox. Will Levis has had some very.
You told me to sell the story on Will Levis. I sold you the story.
You said he's throwing the ball to freshmen. Those two freshmen are some of the best freshmen that we've seen in like the last 3 to 5 years or so.
Yeah, Barry Brown is probably the best return man in college football. You get him in space, and he's just ridiculous. Dane Key's a nice size adjusted athlete who you throw it up to him and he's going to catch it. But that doesn't fit my narrative, so I chose to ignore the.
He's just ignored. And then last year he had Wan'Dale Robinson.
Do you know how many times I have trashed Will Levis on this show specifically? Like it's got to be like 70. So
I'm making you do the opposite now.
Yeah, maybe do the opposite.
All right, here we go. I'm going to make this harder for you. Again, we are playing How Will We Be Wrong, folks? Think about Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, the community dead wrong on them. Let's go back a little bit more to Trent Richardson. There was a time where Trent Richardson was like a top 5 fantasy pick. We can even go more recently to the Saquon Barkley class. There was one person that I know that had Nick Chubb ranked ahead of Saquon Barkley as a rusher. And everybody, oh, that's outrageous. But I think that that's manifest to be true. So that's what we're talking about here, folks. How will we be wrong? We're taking what the perception is of these players right now and flipping it. How are we going to be wrong 3 years looking back to now? All right, here we go. This is a good one, meaning the perception on this player is good. And I want you to tell me how we're going to be wrong about this player, Moxley. Bijan Robinson, the 225-pound dynamic running back out of Texas. Everybody's been tanking their ass off in fantasy leagues to get the 101 so they can draft Bijan Robinson. I think this is harder than Will Levis. Tell me how Bijan Robinson is going to be a straight-up bust.
He tests poorly in the 40, and his lack of long speed shows a little bit on film, and then it parlays itself into a lower than expected 40 time, and that hurts his ability to break off those big runs in the way that we see a Saquon Barkley or Nick Singleton, who I think are interesting class comps for him. He still has receiving ability, but he isn't the Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones type, certainly. So you have that, but you just have a well-rounded player and not one who is a difference maker because he lacks that long speed, because he is not the miss you make in a booth, a telephone booth type back per se, even though he has great jukes. He's really shifty at the line of scrimmage. I don't know that he's necessarily like that when he catches the ball. He relies a lot on his athleticism, and athleticism is not a long speed type. So I think that might hurt him when he's not against
Chris Moxley. Chris Moxley is out here calling Bijan Robinson a bust. They're gonna come after you, Mox. This is how I think that the thing's getting mad. So the funny thing is I think people may think that Bijan Robinson's gonna go run a 4.4 in the combine. He's probably a mid 4.5 guy. Like his agility is really his calling card, not his top end speed, which is fine for a running back. I don't think we care if they have, breakaway speed. I mean, how off 60 yards down the field, but it's he might go to the combine and run a 4.58. I'm not going to have a problem with that, but he just might.
He's slower than people realize, and I think that I don't know if it's, I can't tell if it's decisiveness or it's patience between him. Like, is he being patient, or is he just like not knowing where to cut up field? Is like the other issue I have with him. I don't know necessarily what the answer is there. I'm not a good enough running back scout to give you a full answer, but there are questions on his profile.
You know what's going to let out a collective groan is if he gets drafted by the Patriots and they are penchant for doing a running back by committee, or if he gets drafted by Josh McDaniels in Oakland, and they still got Josh Jacobs around and they want to employ a committee. Do you want to keep playing this game, Mox, after the break? Let's keep playing this game.
I'll play it all day. Let's do it.
Let's keep playing this game after the break. Mox, did you know that we were sponsored by Lucra?
I know.
Network
of course.
is sponsored by Lucra. Lucra is redefining friendly competition. Compete in the games you play in the sports you watch with Lucra. Download the Lucra app right now to create a contest and bet against your friends as in little as 15 seconds. Use promo code BSN, like Better Sports Network, when you sign up and receive a free $10 to play with. Winning is fun, and beating your friends like Chris Moxley is even better with Lucra. When we come back, we're going to keep playing this game. How are we going to be wrong? It's Felix Sharpe, Chris Moxley. This is Better Sports Network.
Campus to Canton.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Now being joined by Dylan Robbins, the CEO of Lucra.
Lucra is a unique new platform, but it really has a basis and a very simple idea is that we think that people want to bet with their friends, right? Our product is built off the fact that the casual fan is at the bar or at their buddy's house and they're putting $5 on the game and they're doing it on Venmo. And I think that there's a huge opportunity to open the market up to all these casual fans. A lot of people who feel boxed out by the traditional sports books because they're too complicated or there's complex jargon. They don't understand the lines or the spreads. And so Lucra's goal is to just make it simple. And our favorite way of doing that is we just connect you directly with your friends. So it's a social platform. It's peer-to-peer. We're not the house. We don't take any risk on these wagers. We just are a marketplace to kind of connect you with your friends directly to engage. So it started as just a business for sports. We've expanded outside of sports now. We offer 150 recreational games from cornhole to beer pong to darts to Wordle to Peloton. You name it. You can challenge your friends now on Lucra. And you've got all the gaming and tracking and stats and leaderboards to go with it to make it fun. So it's a bit about what we do, and excited to chat with you guys about it today.
What's the future growth of Lucra?
Good question. I think for us, it's really the expansion outside of sports. I think that we've proven that sports is a great model. We've got a ton of great customers who love our sports product, but we're really paving the way or really innovating on this recreational game side of our business as we think about all these unique categories and areas where people are competing. Spike ball, pickleball, all these things that are blowing up across the globe right now. Lucra is the first real way where people can bet with their friends on these games. And so we're getting a lot of new customers from that, a lot of brand awareness from that. And I think we're just trying to iterate that product, make it more fun, make it easier. But we're going to keep our ethos the same, casual, social, and fun. That's what Lucra's about. Our average contest is $10. This is not about bankrupting your friends. It's not about winning big and paying your rent. It's about the magic of the moment and making that moment better by having $5 on the line. If you ever played a round of golf on Sunday or watched a football game, you guys get it. You put a few bucks on it. It just changes the way you interact with that game. You watch it longer. You spend more money there. And it gives us a lot of time for us to, a lot of opportunity for us to partner with other brands because of that.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
That's insane. That I don't even know what the right word that to bring us back in. That's a nice rejoin. I'll just call it a rejoin.
I call
Felix
that
Sharpe,
a
Chris
drop
Moxley,
in our chat.
Campus2Canton show on Better Sports Network. We've been talking about Tom Brady. We even named the next Tom Brady. I said Talia Tagovailoa. Mox said Michael Pratt from Tulane. If you didn't watch that bowl game against USC where they won with 4 seconds left, went for 2, then pay attention to that one. Pay attention to that one.
Your boy Mario Williams.
Don't
tough scene on the goal line.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that. I'm sitting here being mocked and ridiculed. I have been a fan. Yes, I have been a fan of the speedy freshman out of Tampa Bay, Mario Williams. Is it junior? Just Mario Williams, who was at Oklahoma, followed Lincoln Riley to USC. I thought that he was going to have a monster second season. He's been, there's a Jag. He's been a Jag.
He's been a Jag.
He's been a Jag. And I've been telling people, you got to draft this dude. He's going to be, the next big, small wide receiver, the next Josh Downs-ish. He ain't been that. So swing and a miss. He got 3 more years of eligibility. I don't care what you say, Chris Moxley. I'm not going to take your shot. Oh, shoot. I can't say that.
He's wide receiver 2 in his team this year. Yep. Super excited.
Wide receiver 2 to Dorian Singer?
Yeah.
Dorian Singer from Arizona transfers to USC. Lincoln Riley trying to re-up with that wide receiver core after losing Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison going to be a first-round draft pick. Moxley, early signing day just passed. And before we get back to our game about how we are going to be wrong, I want to talk about two players because two players, really got a lot of intrigue this past week on early signing day. Jaden Rashada, a 4-star quarterback, a top 8 quarterback in this class, according to any recruiting service that you look at. He was originally committed to Miami. And then he had this deal with Florida. The deal was supposed to pay him like $13 million. I think we talked about this on Better Sports a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
It came to like pay, and they were like, we ain't got it. We ain't got it. And he was like, all right, you ain't got it. I'm not coming to the school. So he went back into the recruiting pool, and he ends up at Arizona State with Kenny Dillingham. Kenny Dillingham was the offensive coordinator last season for Oregon and kind of breathed life into Bo Nix's potential as an NFL draft pick. I think if you remember Bo Nix at Auburn, I don't think anybody really considered him to be an NFL player. I think after one season at Oregon, an outstanding season that it was, he's kind of back in the mix to be a guy, especially in 2024 with, the two top quarterbacks are Caleb Williams and Drake May. There's not a clear answer after that. There's not a clear answer after those two. But do you want to talk about Jaden Rashada and, just thoughts about him landing with Arizona State?
Yeah, that's a huge win for Kenny Dillingham and his staff. I mean, first year there, the program was in really bad shape after Herm Edwards kind of just he left them in very, very poor situation. Did a terrible job recruiting, did a terrible job developing. So Dillingham coming in, and Rashada, I am not a huge fan of. And we aren't at Campus2Canton either. We have him rated lower than most services do. We have him consensus like quarterback 17 or 18. He should be probably closer to like 12, but that's still a far cry from quarterback 6, which is where he's rated on 24/7. His story is so interesting, though. Like, you nailed it. Like, Miami to Florida. He was originally going to Florida. Miami then upped their NIL offer, and then he committed to Miami. And Florida said, we can't let that happen, and upped their offer for a player who is not worth double-digit millions, by the way. This is not a player who's worth $10 million. And Florida said, okay, we'll just pay him more. And then the check came to the table, and everybody kept their card in their pocket, and the bill was not paid. Very interesting story, because it was just Florida trying to, I think, flex their muscles, and the muscles they didn't have. I actually think the Arizona State spot is really good.
Went to the bathroom hoping that somebody would get it. Then they came back to the table and the check's still there. They started leaning back in their seat, started talking about other stuff like, oh, yeah, let's have a long conversation.
Yeah. He committed to his national letter of intent. And once you sign that, you are technically committed to go to school. So you have to be released from that in order to re-enter. And he was released from Florida because this deal fell through, and Florida did not want to get in a litigation battle with a 18-year-old high schooler who signed this deal. That is a terrible PR look to sue a high schooler. So yeah, he goes to Arizona State, and I think it's a great spot for him. Kenny Dillingham is an excellent offensive mind. I think he's going to do really well there. I think it's a nice spot. He was considering TCU as well. I think that would have been a great spot, but both will work for Rashada, and I really hope he gets developed, because he's got just questions about his game.
There's really nothing there at Arizona State. I mean, he could potentially start, even though we don't think he's a great player, the opportunity is going to be there for him to start in year one. So we'll pay attention to his development. Another player that we got to talk about, and we got his landing spot confirmed. He had been flirting with Deion Sanders in Colorado, and I'm talking about, I don't even know what to call him as far as what position he's going to play, because we really describe Nick Harbor as an athlete. He's 6'5", 235, between 225 and 235 pounds. This dude ran in the 60 just a couple of weeks ago, a 6'6", 60-meter dash.
I think 6'6",
6'6". Okay. In comparison,
absurd time.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill ran like a 6'4" or something like that. So you're talking about, he's one of the most athletic players playing football, I guess, to be honest, size adjusted anywhere at any level. That's fair.
And ever.
And ever. And ever.
Period.
And ever. We don't really, I mean, okay. So he's got the size to, I guess, be a tight end, but he's got the speed to be a wide receiver. He's been recruited as a defensive end. He could easily get up to like 260.
He's got the frame to add weight, for sure.
Yeah, he's got the frame to add weight. What position do you think he should play? And he's down there. I'm sorry. I don't know if I said this. He's going to South Carolina. I mean, what position do you think he should play? What are your Oh, Mox is pulling out the Gamecocks hat because he is a Gamecocks fan. Talk to me about Nick Harbor, Mox.
Listen, I got my Williams-Bryce poster up here. I got my South Carolina Final Four poster up here. We are riding with Gamecocks today. So what position do I think he should play? Is edge. I think his athleticism is otherworldly, and he would just be a phenomenal edge. Not that it's not as technical as a wide receiver or tight end per se, but hip athleticism allows him to make up a lot more with playing edge than it does necessarily at a receiver position on the offense. So what he will play is Shane Beamer, South Carolina head coach, said that he will play him at wide receiver, and then
we'll let you do whatever you want. If you want to snap the ball, if you want to play center, if you want to play center and quarterback, we'll let you play center and quarterback.
Oh yeah, I don't listen. As a South Carolina fan, I don't care. As someone who has to be somewhat neutral on the shows that we're on, I don't like that he's going to play wide receiver. That's where Beamer said he would play, and he'd play a little bit tight end, but he wouldn't be in a blocking role where his hand is. The quote is basically his hand will never be in the ground. Is Beamer's quote on him? So he'll play like the tight end position, which is basically just a big slot.
He said that his hand will never be in the ground.
Yeah.
So he's not playing defense.
No, offensively, when he's talking about a blocking tight end.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have clarified that a little bit better. He's basically said he'll never block as a tight end. He will only play as like a big slot, however you want to define that move tight end position. He will play offense until he doesn't. And I really wish that he would play edge because I think that's where he's going to make the most money in the NFL. I think that's where he's best. He's a really raw receiver. If you watch him, he just relies purely on athleticism. Technically, he's not quite there, but it's hard
to move like a wide receiver when you're that big. When you're 6'5", 235 pounds. I mean, there's not that hard. DK Metcalf is like the only player that I can think of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's basically like DK Metcalf. Probably a little more athletic.
Look at you getting all giddy and excited.
I'm excited. Well, listen, I'm a fan of South Carolina. Of course I'm excited for him. But realistically, he won't gain weight until after the 2024 Paris Olympic trials. Like he is faster than Marquise Goodwin was at the same age, and Marquise Goodwin went to the Olympics. 6'5", 225, 230. Just remember that. So if he's going to switch to edge,
he's going to stay lean.
Yeah, he will stay lean as long as he can because he plans on being a track athlete as well at South Carolina. So I don't know that you can switch him to defense until he gives up, not gives up, but like it doesn't want to go to the Olympics or be a track athlete anymore. And he's that type of player where he can. He's athletic enough and fast enough to do so.
All right. That's Nick Harbor. I got to figure out what number he's going to be. Nick Harbor might be selling jerseys there in Columbia, South Carolina.
I'm buying one.
I want to talk about one more thing before we get to our game. I want to talk about the demise of Alabama, the demise of Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide. I've been talking about this, and I'm being mocked and ridiculed by you four. Matt, Austin.
Oh, Matt's on. Hey, listen, Matt's on your side. If you were listening to last week's show, Campus2Canton show and Better Sports, you would have heard Matt just railing again. He gave Alabama a 7 or 8 on the panic meter scale.
I've been saying they don't have an elite quarterback prospect there. I thought that somebody was going to transfer there. Like there's what do you mean false?
I like Ty Simpson.
Okay. He is not Bryce Young, Mac Jones, or Tua Tagovailoa, who are the last
he's
three
better than
quarterbacks.
Mac Jones. He's better than Mac Jones as a prospect. Don't give me that.
He's different. He's not the passer that any of those three were. And they don't have they don't have Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle and Jerry Jeudy, and they don't have Derrick Henry or Mark Ingram in the backfield. Like this is not that team. There are teams that are better than them. They should have lost to Texas this year. They would have lost to Texas if Quinn Ewers was still healthy. But let me get to some quotes here, because Nick Saban has been poo-pooing the NIL game, and to his own detriment. Speaking to the Alabama Football Coaches Association conference, he said, and I quote, someone with one of the best corners in the nation in high school came to me and asked if we'd pay him $800,000 for the player to sign here. I told him he can find another place to play. I got to think that he might be talking about Cormani McClain, who was still, floating around there, ends up at Colorado. Talking about another player, we lost 10 players and one starter to the portal this year. One of them wanted $500,000 for us to get his girlfriend into law school at Alabama and to pay for it. I showed him the door. Nick Saban's not trying to play these money games, Chris Moxley. And you know what? There goes his recruiting classes. I mean, money talks, man. It's over for Alabama. Just admit it. It's over. It's over. The run is over.
They have the number one class in the country this year and the third greatest class of all time. I mean, how could it be over? The quote that's not included here is that he will pay players when they produce at a high level. I don't think he has any issue doing that.
Whoa, time out.
Javion Cohen is a replacement level player at Alabama.
We're gonna get the and that's the second player that he was talking about. Javion Cohen. Is his girl
allegedly Javion Cohen, who then transferred to Miami, and his girlfriend immediately enrolled in their law school. Offensive lineman, allegedly. But yeah, Javion Cohen is the second guy based on internet sleuthing. But he was a replacement level player at Alabama when we talk about the offensive line. So Saban's not interested in keeping him if it's going to cost $500,000. And then Cormani McClain, great player, awesome corner, ended up heading to Colorado, but $800K to sign him if you're Alabama, no chance Saban's doing that. He has no incentive to. He's already got the number one class. He has 8 players in the top 100. Dynasty ain't close to over. Saban thinks he can win one more within the next 3 or 4 years.
That Miami Law School is pretty good. For a brief aside, I think Drew Rosenhaus. An alum of Miami's law school.
Well, they're apparently, if that's his demand, they're paying for his girlfriend to go there. So good for her. She is in fact enrolled in the law school. We were able to confirm that. So pretty good evidence. It's Javion Cohen.
Mark Trestman. Do you remember Mark Trestman from Chicago Bears? Alum of Miami's law school.
Miami's law school, Mark Trestman, Drew Rosenhaus, and Javion Cohen's girlfriend.
I don't know if Drew Rosenhaus is. I'm looking it up, and it might not be true. Anthony, check me on that. All right, let's go back to our game because we're going to run out of time here. I'm just spitting. I'm just saying stuff that's not even true, except for the fact that Alabama their demise is here.
No evidence, but okay.
It is absolutely here. So we went through, okay, again, let's just set up the game again. We're talking about perception of players and how we might be wrong in the future, looking back to now. It happened with Josh Allen. Everybody was down on Josh Allen. Now all of a sudden he's one of the best 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. Same with Jalen Hurts. Oh, the Eagles were going to draft a quarterback to replace Jalen Hurts. Now he's in the Super Bowl. I'm going to give you another player, and we're going to stick to like how would these players bust? Jackson Smith and Jigba. The previous 2 years, not this year because he was injured, but last year, 2021. I mean, one of the most productive wide receivers as far as raw statistics that you've seen. A lot of people have him out of Ohio State as the wide receiver 1 in this class. They're like, oh, he was more productive than Garrett Wilson. And we see what Garrett Wilson is doing with the Jets. How could we be wrong with Jackson Smith and Jigba, Moxley? Tell me. Make the case against Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah. He outproduced both Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson as a sophomore when Olave was a senior and Wilson was a junior. Both were selected within the top 12 picks of the NFL draft. So this is kind of 10 player that we're dealing with, right? Here's how it goes wrong for Jason. He can't play outside. I actually think that's true, period. That's not even making like a devil's advocate case against him. I don't think he's an outside player. I don't think he can play outside the slot. I think he's only a slot only guy. So you're already limited to that type of player. I think he is a good player, but is he closer to Cooper Kupp? Oh, I'm gonna get dragged for this. Nobody quote this one. Or is it closer to like a Hunter Renfrow type?
That's fair. Those guys are
It's
slot wide receivers.
They're slot wide receivers, and I don't know that he's closer to Cooper Kupp than he's not athletic. He's going to run like a 4.7 or like at least a high 4.6. Like he's slow. He's not super athletic. He'll probably test well in like agility drills, but he won't test well otherwise. Not athletic, a slot only wide receiver. Like this floor for those guys is kind of low. They're kind of a replaceable asset at the NFL level. You need to be like a Keenan Allen type. You need to be a Robert Woods type. You need to be a Cooper Kupp type in order to succeed. And those are players who are outliers at their position. Like those players sustaining production over a long period of time isn't really the norm. Like those players are generally replaceable. And so that's the concern with JSN.
I love that you said those players. You said Keenan Allen, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Hunter Renfrow. None of those guys were first-round draft picks. I don't think any of them were second-round draft picks, if I'm remembering correctly.
Woods was, but everybody else was taken round 3 or beyond, I think.
And that's the thing that I've been shouting is like people are not watching the game to see like how this dude is used. He doesn't beat press coverage. He's not a deep threat. This guy is a pure slot receiver. So everybody looking at the raw stats and saying Jackson Smith-Njigba is this otherworldly receiver. I'm like, do you think Hunter Renfrow is Randy? No. Like that is the spectrum of player that he should be compared to. Now, can that be a very productive player? Absolutely. But it's really dependent on how that player is used in the offensive scheme. I think that you could throw a player like Treylon Burks, George Pickens, Devontae Adams. You can throw those players in any offense and they would be productive because they can win on the boundary. They can beat man coverage and all that stuff. I'm not sure that that's what Jackson Smith-Njigba is. You better be scheming stuff up for him if he's going to produce, as a wide receiver one like everybody thinks he is. Yeah, this is not not you playing devil's advocate, Chris Moxley. This is you telling the truth, and I applaud you, Chris Moxley. I applaud you. You're a brave man. You're telling the truth despite what the people are going to say about you.
If he goes to the right place, his floor is very, very high. I don't think he will bust.
Yeah.
But his ceiling is not nearly what it's made out to be. If he goes to the wrong place, he will bust.
You would hope that he's paired with like a dominant number one. I'm talking Devontae Adams on the other side. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown, another good comparison for him. Another guy, a slot wide receiver who was not taken in the first round. Who's going to get drafted first? Josh Downs or Jackson Smith-Njigba?
I think it's going to be Jackson Smith-Njigba if I had to lay money on it today, considering the sports books have him like plus 225 to go as like the first wide receiver drafted. So I would bet on him before I bet on Josh Downs for sure.
First wide receiver drafted, I would love to see the odds on Josh. Well, Josh Downs isn't going to be the first wide receiver drafted.
Yeah. That's the only prop that's out there for wide receivers. So that's how I'm evaluating it. But I think he'll end up going in the first round. It might be later than people think, and I think that he might not have the role that anyone who says that he is an outside wide receiver or has the ability to compete outside just has never watched Jackson Smith-Njigba play football.
And you know what? People are going to throw out Justin Jefferson and say, "Oh, Justin Jefferson, he was a slot wide receiver at LSU," which is true. However, Justin Jefferson had Jamar Chase on the outside, and Justin Jefferson and Terrace Marshall, and Justin Jefferson, a much better athlete. Like there's no chance, and I'm saying this knowing that the track was juiced last year and has been juiced. But there's no chance for Jackson Smith and Jigba to go run a 4.3. There's zero chance. Zero chance.
Over under Jackson Smith and Jigba 4.55.
4.55. Oh, listen. If it's the track that we have seen before the last like 2 years, I would take the over. I would say he would run between 4.55 and 4.65, which is fine for a slot receiver. But I think that he would be great in the agility drills and the 3-cone and all that stuff.
Yep.
But he's a slot wide receiver. This is not somebody that you're going to say, all right, we're going to run some play action in Jackson Smith and Jigba. You're going to run a go route and beat this corner deep. That's not who he is. It's like you're going to win between the numbers, get open in zone, show your body to the quarterback, and catch the ball and maybe run after the catch a little bit.
Does Seattle have a second-round pick this year?
I don't know.
Because I would love to see Seattle pair him with DK Metcalf. Actually, and that'd be really fun.
And Tyler Lockett. That's the type of situation.
Outside.
Yeah. So Jackson Smith and Jigba is probably playing slot and flanker, not boundary. Not boundary. Not X. Not X.
He'll never be an X wide receiver.
No, he won't. He was not at Ohio State. He won't be in the NFL. I think we can squeeze one more in here. Now, the last couple of times me and you have been on, Mox, we have to squeeze everything in at the end.
Yeah,
I want to be super professional at the end, where we're not just saying, I'm going to buy City next week.
Okay.
Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know why I'm being a negative Nancy this today. Jahmyr Gibbs, widely considered to be RB2 in the class behind Bijan Robinson. One of the best pass catchers.
For now, he's absolutely considered
one of the best pass catchers that we've seen from the running back position, probably since Saquon Barkley. Probably. How are we going to be wrong on Jahmyr Gibbs?
His athleticism doesn't match up from a contact balance standpoint to where we need it to. He's inefficient when he runs between the tackles. He's more efficient when he runs outside. He's fast. I actually think he'll run in low 4.4s, high 4.3s. So that's quick for him. But his success rate, when you look at it, it's tough. We look at his explosiveness, you're not seeing that. He doesn't always get downfield for his routes, even though he's lined up as a wide receiver. That's how he doesn't succeed. And I have him as RB2, so I am playing the concerns that I have in my mind out. But
you're a monster. You're a monster, Chris Moxley. These are not things. Jahmyr Gibbs is in a tier of his own as the number.
He has no power
back.
either.
Who cares? Does Austin Eckler have power? I think he's more power than Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is a chess piece. He's Brian Westbrook. If you remember, Mox, you're not old enough to remember Tom Brady.
Oh, I had Brian Westbrook on my fantasy team. I'm old enough to remember Brian Westbrook. Okay. That's what Jahmyr Gibbs is. He's a guy that's going to have 700 yards receiving, 700 yards rushing, and he might have, 9 touchdowns or so. Okay? Do you think he goes second round? Early second round?
Absolutely. He's absolutely going second round. Don't hate on my boy Jahmyr Gibbs.
I love Jahmyr Gibbs. He has that high end elusiveness. Not a super strong guy.
All right.
Whatever.
All right. We can reconvene next week. It's been Felix Sharpe and Chris Moxley, Anthony Rivera producing for us. Make sure you stay tuned for replays of Moose and Keith and the High Stakes Fantasy Football Show hosted by Eric Baltman. Love that. We're going to see you next week right here on Better Sports Network.